a bit of a confession to make. So Gotcha Games has probably taken about $20,000 from my income back when I first started, and probably prevented me from actually moving on with my life because of how addicted I was to Gatcha Gaming. Okay. Let me start at the beginning of why this messed up. $20,000 is putting it light. It's probably like 50. But I made back a little bit. I made back some. I'm trying to smile to keep from crying. But essentially, story time with Anthony. I put it that way because I just realized I didn't even say my name. Hi, how you doing? How you be? Top to the AB. But anyway, there was a game called Mew Online, right? And this Mew Online was basically one of the first Gotcha games ever created. And I used to play it since I was in college. So we're talking like 20, and that was like 18 years ago. So I played it for maybe 13, 14 years. And that game, essentially everything was pay to win. So if you put money in it, you have a better chance of doing anything. If you tried to play free to play, you would be sitting here leveling up and you will be getting trumped by people who are already max level, because that's just the way the game played. The game played in a way that benefited people who paid money. So essentially, the more money you played, the better you were at the game. And I used to be so good at that game. I had multiple characters, multiple accounts. I had rebirth characters. Basically, I leveled them, then they died, and I leveled them again, essentially, is what happened with that. But that game ate me up inside, right? Because I loved playing it. I liked the interactions and hanging out with people that I met there and friends and stuff like that. But at the same time, I could not stand the fact that it was just draining me day in, day out. It was just draining my pocketbooks. And I was just like, man, I need to quit this game if I ever want to get ahead or get anywhere in life, because I'm just sitting here not being able to do anything with my life because all my money is going to a video game. So fast forward and Genshin Impact comes out, right? And I was like, okay, this is the game I'm going to go to, Genshin Impact. This game looks freaking awesome, right? Genshin Impact is pretty much the exact same thing. So the way I went into it, I was like, okay, cool. There's Diluc was the original main character, and then you also had Venti was one of the characters you can wish for, and he had this grouping mechanic that made it so that you can group all your mobs all together and then you can kill them. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go all in on Venti. And so I go all in on Venti, spend $1,000+ because he never really had a weapon at the time. So I didn't really kind of go in on his weapon. I just went in for him. And so I ended up doing that. And then Klee comes out. And I don't know if anybody knows anything about me, but my thing when it comes to Gotcha games is I like this. I like creating games creating teams where they merge together, so one complements the other. So I like creating teams. I don't really play games for the gotcha-ness or the characters or boobage, any of that. That's not why I play. I play because I want to create a team, right? A team whose abilities complement each other. And I was like, oh my God, Klee is so cute. As a little girl, whatever. I've raised all girls. So if anybody knows anything about me, I've raised all girls. So when it's like a little cute like girl or a kid or whatever, I was like, oh my God. I was just like, obviously I have to pay for it. So I went all in on Klee, right? My Klee was C6R5, and for those of you who aren't aware, that means I gave them all my money. I basically threw my wallet at the screen and just prayed for the best. And so, but my Klee was super strong though at the time, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna rock Klee and Diluc and Venti, and that lasted for like 20 minutes. It did not last very long. And then you have character after character. You have Ayaka, Ganyu, then you had Ayaka, and then you had, Raiden Shogun, and then you had all of these characters that came later on. They were all really, really good in their particular niche, but it was overkill. I thought the game would be hard, but this game never got hard until maybe even the later stages. As of right now, it's a little bit more challenging, but when we were playing 4 years ago, that game was not hard, and it was just a waste of time to be putting all your money into these characters for no reason, right? And so basically, I just found a new system to give all my money to. So I had to quit that system as well. Then Honkai Star Rail came out. Honkai Star Rail is a better version of Genshin Impact. Honkai Star Rail has great characters, but those characters can last a really long time. I still play with Jian, Jin Yuan. Lord Jin Yuan. I still play with him, and I still play with some of the characters that I started out with, like Silverwolf. Still play Blade, still play with them, but at the same time, I did the exact same thing I did in Genshin. I went all the way in and maxed them all out to like the highest constellation because I had a problem. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. At that point, I had a problem because I was like, okay, Genshin told you what they were gonna do. They told you it was gonna be easy mode, essentially. And then you buy another game game that's also by the same company, and you still decide to go for a higher constellation character, you get what you get at that point, you know? But granted, to Honkai Star Rail's credit, it was harder than Genshin Impact, but not much harder. Then, however, Wuthering Waves comes out, and Wuthering Waves is a totally different ballgame. Wuthering Waves listens. Wuthering Waves actually gives you characters Genshin could never. Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now. I don't care if they start doing it just now and they want to give you a character 5 years into the future after already coming out, and now it's like, okay, hell, here's your new character, your free character. I've been playing for 5 years and now you want to give me a character? It's too late, I've already left. But Wuthering Waves actually gives you characters that actually care about content and growing their characters. Now, granted, obviously Genshin cares about content and their characters, but it's more so revenue based, you know? And then on top of that, I don't like the idea that if you were to invest more into the character, there is less you can do with them. Because there is a certain point where they're trying to make it basically good for everyone. And when they made it good for everyone, they basically alienated the people who paid the most money. Because if you paid the most money, you're just gonna, you know, raffle stomp literally everything in the game, right? And so I always ran into that when I was playing Genshin and Honkai, but in Wuthering Waves, I was like, look, I'm not going CSIG, Constellation, whatever you want to call it, on anyone. I may go 1, 2 just to make the character play well, and that's it. So my Jiun is like C3 because at that, okay, I realize that's still bad, but at that point, he gets crit and crit damage, and then Gen C is Constellation 1, right? So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna rock with these guys, and I have had more fun in Wuthering Waves than my entire time at Genshin, and maybe most of my time at Honkai Star Rail, which is crazy when you think about it. I spent all this money getting all of these characters, and what ended up being the most entertaining for me is when I didn't put as much money in. And I had characters who had weaknesses, they have flaws, they can be knocked out. Some of them are very aerial based, some of them are ground based, and you could just get smoked by depending on which boss you played. Plus their co-op is entertaining. So I wanted to take this time and make this video because Wuthering Waves needs to be applauded for the things that they have done with that game. That freaking game is awesome. I'm sitting here playing co-op for no freaking reason other than to interact with people and, you know, and show off my shorekeeper who's like level 10 or whatever in her stats or whatever. So I'm sitting here playing all of these games, and what actually got me was the game that I didn't even have to pay for. It goes to show you that money really doesn't take you very far when it comes to video games. But to be fair, at Mew Online, I did get back my initial investment. The Gatcha games, Hoyoverse games, you don't get any of that. But yeah, it's been quite the road, and I feel like this video needed to come out for people who are struggling with this type of addiction, this kind of gambling addiction. I would say if you are a Gatcha gambler, wow, that is really hard to say. Gatcha gaming gambler. If that is your particular addiction, I would recommend Wuthering Waves, because that game, you can just play the game, and in playing the game, you can actually get whatever character you want, and then that's it. The weapon, you don't have to, there's no 50-50 on the weapon, you just get the weapon. That's all there is to it. And the game itself is very, very entertaining to play. The characters are really nice to enjoy. If you like some boobage, you got them characters with some boobage. You got a little bit of Jeji. I mean, I don't know how you pronounce her name, but I mean, I'm pretty close. You know exactly who I'm talking about. So there's that. And so that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to give props to what props is due, and Wuthering Waves has been killing it. That's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you like this video, go to the like button. If you really like it, go to subscribe. I love you either way. Take care. All the best, and bye. If you like this video, please subscribe. I'm trying to make as many as humanly possible. Let's go.